Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our Changemakers series. We are here with the one and only Curtis Rodriguez Porter. How we doing today, Curtis?
I'm amazing, Herb. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Run me down a little bit of your background.
Background professionally, culturally, what?
Both, actually. I think that will help.
All right. So background culturally, I am Black and Cape Verdean. Not many folks know that, and so that's my culture. My father is Cape Verdean, my mom's Black, and born here though in the Valley of Connecticut, little small town called Ansonia, and kind of worked my way up to the 860 over the years. And so, you know, just happy to be up here in the capital city. And here at CREC, professionally, I'm the managing director for School Choice.
Okay. My first question to you is you mentioned school choice. How active are you in that? Obviously, you are the managing director, but there's so much more to it. Can you go into detail a little bit about that?
Yes, the office manages a lot of the placement process for the applications for magnet schools and open choice, and then open choice, supporting Hartford resident students who go to school outside of Hartford throughout the region. So any given time, our team is sought out after for resources, for recommendations, things like that. But there's also a political side to it. And so, just living here in the capital city, being active with community organizations, constantly networking and meeting new people, seeing what partnerships can be formed amongst the open choice in CREC, and just bringing folks together. That's a big part of the role for sure. It's who you know, what connections can you make, what collaborative efforts can you make, and for me, I understand that and I love it. So it's a win-win.
There's a lot of expectations in this role, and there is a lot of confidence in yourself that you need to have. Obviously, with having a role with a significant impact, what would you say your biggest difficulty or some of your difficulties are with the role that you play?
Difficulties, I would say, would be that because I'm surrounded by educators of different levels, right? That's from superintendents to folks who are doctors in education, and or I might be in a space with social workers or speech pathologists, whatever the gamut. I have to be confident in the knowledge that I've had with being in education for over 10 years, and the skills that I've learned, the mentors that I've had who do hold positions at those different levels, and bring that experience into my role to be grounded in an understanding that it's okay that I don't know everything that all those roles encompass. However, I know different components, and that I have access to tap into a network of folks, that should something come up or should I need advice on something, I could tap in. And then the team here throughout school choice is well versed. And so at any given time, I'm a firm believer in I don't need to know all the information, but if I have folks that I could tap into who do know the information, then we're good. And it becomes a team effort. And again, that just goes back to the collaboration and me being confident in myself that, I don't need to be the face for everything and I don't need to know it all. And, there's other folks for that. So I'm good.
And I think that's a great point that you bring up because there are a lot of individuals that I know personally who want to start community work, but they don't know where to start. And you mentioned that pretty much being a sponge to the network that you have is extremely important. What advice would you give to somebody who wants to start community work but doesn't really know where to start?
That's an important question. And I think that depending on who you are, your upbringing, um, a lot of it is involved in that because networking is your number one thing, right? However, if you were brought up to where your family dynamic was home only, school home, right, church home, or wherever home, you weren't given that opportunity to kind of be out with friends, going to auntie and uncle's house, your fake auntie and uncle's house, going on field trips, having sleepovers, going to college or different experiences post high school. All those things can have an impact on how you socialize and how you move. And so depending on where you're at in that spectrum, networking is the most important. And so I would say if your upbringing was tight, then just immerse yourself in opportunities where there's a lot of folks that you could talk to, And then if you were in a position where you're comfortable with being in crowds and talking to people and introducing yourselves, then ensure that in whatever space you're in, right, that set a goal that I'm going to make 5 new connections out of this space before I leave this event or this initiative or things like that. And so I would just say attend as much as you can. You'll find out what your niche is, right? Is it that you want to be involved in politics, right? If that's the case, then you should be going to like localized city council meetings, connected with NRZs, commission meetings, things of that nature. Or is it that you want to be an ambassador for a nonprofit, or you want to learn more about what a nonprofit is doing? Then you should go to those spaces where nonprofits kind of huddle and where they have their hub so that you can meet those folks. But definitely you have to immerse yourself and you have to network. That's the most important thing. And in that you create your own brand of who you are. And then folks start to remember you as long as you leave a lasting impression.
I can say people definitely remember you, Curtis.
Listen, I don't want to be nowhere, nobody remember me,
But I
Even if
think
you
it's
get my
that
name,
you
I want you to remember my face.
Yeah, I think it's important that you mention that because a part of this work is taking yourself out of where it feels familiar, out of your comfort zone. And I know a lot of people struggle with that, obviously, depending on your dynamic, like you said. But whatever your purpose is, you kind of have to just speak that into existence and be that existence as well too. Like you said, if you want to get into politics, you have to be around those people. And I think that's great advice to give. But with this work as well too, there's a lot of rewarding things that come with it, right? So what would you say the most rewarding thing or some rewarding things? You can name a couple of the work that you've done in the community.
What I found to be most recently rewarding is, being a new father and being married, um, being a gay man of color, Black, right? I've had folks approach me and say, I really love your family dynamic. I love that you kind of share that out to us because in the Black community, for you to be young and really secure, like we don't have a lot of that, and so I've over time, I don't think I kind of realized the what I was doing in forming my family dynamic. And now that I'm in it and live in it, it's like, wow, this is a big deal because I think about for my family. This is the first time in my family that there was a gay man who got married and had kids, right? One of my children is adopted, one is biological. And so it's the first time that has ever been done in my family, right? And same for my husband. He's Puerto Rican, born in Puerto Rico. And so for us to be in that space and to be out, proud, very active in community. So clearly a lot of folks we're connecting with a lot of folks and connecting with a lot of folks and folks are asking questions. At first I was kind of like, ooh, how much do I share? But now people are like, can I ask you more? Are you okay with that? And I'm like, yes, absolutely. Because I want folks to know whatever it is in life that you want, you can have it. And it doesn't matter, what the circumstances are, for the most part, but lean into it. And so if I could be a role model or just somebody that's like, you know what, Curtis and them did it and they're doing it, I could do it too, then I'm happy about that. And I think for being in education specifically, being in education and working in the school, when you work with middle school kids, they will tell you about yourself, let me tell you. And
Right.
so at the time when I was in middle school, I was still trying to figure out who was I, who I wanted to be. And there was no way that I could show up and promote for my students to be authentically who they are if I wasn't doing it myself, because they would smell that and be like, nah, he's not real. And so I had to lean in and push myself to be uncomfortable and live in my truth, so that when I connected with my students, right, I was coming as my whole self, because I know that that was something that was important to them. And in essence, it's been a blessing to me. And so that's why I'll forever, hold the passion for education and for youth, in my spirit, because they've helped me to, get to the place where I'm at today in regards to living my life
And,
authentically.
and I actually like that you're wearing that shirt today, because that's actually a testament of who you are. Be you and they'll adjust. And a lot of times when you have such a strong aura about you, it can be an inspiring thing for people who look like you. And being able to be a man who is a part of the LGBTQ community, but also a part of the Black community, that could be a difficult balance, especially the role that you play. And, like you said, like what's important in our community is representation, right?
Yeah,
Whether it's
absolutely.
elementary school, middle school kids, or high school kids. And I feel like you just being you, maybe not even realizing it, but it's important. And I feel like you have an impact that a lot of people may not have, or a lot of people want. And the fact that it's so organic for you to be yourself, Curtis, is a testament to who you are. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Appreciate it.
Um, but also too,
It's a
like,
journey. It's a journey.
what is something that like a lot of people don't really see about your work, that they may not realize, but like it's something that you take so much pride in?
What I take pride is in making sure that if I'm going to do something, that I'm going to do it beyond what the expectation is, right? And what comes with that, though, is when there's a structure or there's parameters, folks may not understand that. And so that's where I really have to lean into, Curtis, you are unique and there is no one like you. And so, therefore, as long as you have great intentions and you continue to remain humble in doing so, then just push through and make it happen. And so within that, there's sometimes a little of perfectionism involved in that, right? There's a little bit of grit and like edge to it as well sometimes. And then there's also passion in it. And so I have to sometimes balance all those things to ensure that the folks or the entity on the opposite receiving end doesn't take as it's my way or the highway, right? It's just kind of, thinking at a macro level and bringing experiences, bringing a different lens, and then bring in what it is that's ticking in here and trying to get it out. Because then if I feel like I'm locked in a box and I feel like I'm drowning, then that's when I feel like I'm disconnecting what it is that I'm doing it. And I don't want to disconnect. So therefore I have to ensure I have to take a step back. And sometimes you have to take a step back and be like, okay, if I can't do it like this, take a step back, refocus, pivot, and then still try to achieve what it is that you're trying to achieve, but then you might have to do it in another direction, and
Right.
and that's okay too, and so folks have to be okay with that. It might not be the way you originally planned, but as long as you keep the goal and you kind of shift and alter just to make it happen, then you'll be all right.
You gotta have a plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Gotcha. Well, Curtis, I appreciate you for joining us for this series of the Changemakers for Black History Month. This is the first time I'm doing an interview, and I would have not wanted to do it with anybody besides you. So I appreciate you for coming on here.
No,
But
I
yes,
appreciate
like
it.
just following up on the conversation we had, we're very thankful for you. The organization is very thankful for you as well too, to have somebody of so much confidence being able to just be who they are and have that impact, not only on just the youth, but also coworkers, people that you're around, colleagues, you know. So we want to thank you for that, Curtis.
No, I appreciate you for allow me to have this space and to be highlighted as a change maker. You know, I think about my time here at CREC and the things that I've been able to accomplish along the way. And sometimes when you're in it, you're like, I still have so much to do, right? But then when you look back, for me, it's only been 5 years. I'm like, wow, I have made segue along the way, and there is growth, and so I'm excited about that. And I've been supported. You know, we have our employee network groups here at CREC, which is was an idea that came up, and CREC supported me. You know, I'm involved with the LGBTQ plus commission for the city. As a result of that, and connecting CREC, right? Our schools have GSAs, right? So there's just like a lot of different things that I'm involved in and very passionate about and hold here that CREC has been supportive of. And so for me and my experience, which is different from other folks, you know, I'm just happy to be part of an organization that kind of supports the whole me and not pieces. And so, you know, and then being in spaces with you all, it makes it easier, you know. I'm aging, and so when I could connect with you young folks, it's like, all right, all right, all right. I'm not totally out of touch. So I appreciate it. I appreciate it. But you know, just some word of advice for folks, you know, like my shirt says, be you, they'll just push through, and you know, make sure that you're taking care of yourself mentally, emotionally, because things aren't easy out there. But we have to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves so that we could then have the energy in the space to give back to others and do what we love. So just, you know, a little tidbit.
Well, thank you for that advice, Curtis. We appreciate you. That's about our time, I think, right? Thank you for joining us, and hopefully we will get you next year.
All right, brother. Thank you. Appreciate you.